Team USA barely escaped with a win against France. But Rebecca Lobo isn't sugarcoating anything. She's calling out the champs for sloppy play and missed opportunities. What did Lobo see that has her so fired up? And could her tough love be the wake-up call Team USA needs? Lobo didn't hold back, folks. She pointed out Team USA's shocking number of turnovers and missed layups. These are basics, people. The kind of mistakes you don't expect from the best of the best. But here's the thing, this wasn't just any game. This was a nail-biter against France that came down to the wire. We're talking a 1-point victory, 67-66. That's way too close for comfort for a team that's used to dominating. But there's more to this story than just Lobo's words. You might be wondering, is this a sign of trouble for Team USA? Are we seeing the end of an era? Or is this the shock to the system they needed to step up their game? You thought that was close? Let's zoom in on this nail-biter of a game. France didn't just show up to play, they came to brawl. This wasn't basketball, it was a full-on slugfest. France's game plan, simple but effective. Slow it down, get physical, and throw Team USA off their rhythm. And boy, did it work. The Americans looked like they were playing in quicksand, struggling to find their usual fast-paced flow. Now picture this. Team USA, the basketball powerhouse, fumbling the ball like it's covered in butter. 16 turnovers in the first half alone. That's not just bad, it's shocking. These are the best players in the world, and they're making mistakes you'd expect from a high school JV team. But here's where it gets real. Rebecca Lobo dropped a truth bomb that explains everything. She said, "I think it's fair in the Olympics to call it the weight of the world because I think that is on the US team's shoulders." Imagine that pressure, every game, every play, the whole world watching, expecting perfection. It's enough to make anyone crack. And crack, they almost did. France pushed and prodded, testing Team USA's limits. There were moments when you could see the panic in their eyes. The unbeatable team suddenly looked very beatable. Now, let's talk about those refs for a second. There's been some chatter about the officiating in this game. Were there some calls that could have swung things the other way? Maybe. But we're not gonna point fingers just yet. What we can say is that in a game this tight, every whistle matters. But wait, before you start writing Team USA's obituary, let's rewind to the fourth quarter. This is where champions are made, folks. And guess what? Our girls showed up when it mattered most. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't dominant, but it was effective. Small plays, clutch moments. That's what saved the day. And who stepped up? None other than Kelsey Plum and Aja Wilson. These two pulled off a play that might just have saved Team USA's bacon. We'll dive into that juicy detail later, so stick around. Here's the kicker. While Team USA was scraping by, France was falling apart. They went ice cold from beyond the arc, missing all 9 of their 3-point attempts in the fourth. Talk about choking under pressure. So what does all this mean for Team USA? Is this a one-off bad day at the office, or are we seeing cracks in the armor? While Team USA was struggling, one player on the French side was absolutely lighting it up. Gabby Williams put on a show that had everyone talking. We're not just talking about a good game here, we're talking about a performance that almost single-handedly took down the mighty Americans. Let's break down Williams' stats because they're too good to ignore. 19 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. That's not just filling up the stat sheet, that's dominating every aspect of the game. Williams was everywhere, doing everything, and making Team USA look like they were playing in slow motion. But here's where it gets really interesting. Gabby Williams isn't just any player on the French team, she's American. That's right, she was out there nearly beating her home country. Talk about a plot twist. Now, picture this. Final seconds of the game, France down by 3. The ball finds its way to Williams. She launches a shot that could send the game to overtime. The entire arena holds its breath. The ball arcs through the air, and it's good. But wait, the refs say her foot was on the line. 2 points instead of 3. Game over. Can you imagine the drama, the tension? Williams was this close to being the hero who took down Goliath. But even without that final shot, her performance was nothing short of spectacular. So you might be wondering, why isn't Williams playing for Team USA? Why is this American star suiting up for France? Well, that's where things get complicated. You see, Williams has been vocal about her frustration with the WNBA's prioritization rules. These rules basically force players to choose between the WNBA and international leagues. And Williams, she's not happy about it. And in her own words, "I still think the prioritization thing is ridiculous. I'm sorry, I'll say it." That's not just frustration, that's a player who feels like she's being forced to make an impossible choice. Williams didn't stop there. She went on to say, "Something has to give. France needs to have a shorter season, or the WNBA needs to allow players to make money and do both." It's a stark reminder of the challenges faced by players who want to compete at the highest level year-round. Think about it. These athletes have a limited window to make their mark and earn a living. The current system is forcing them to pick sides. It's like telling a world-class chef they can only cook Italian or French cuisine, but not both. It doesn't make sense, and it's limiting the potential of these incredible athletes. And let's be real, Williams' performance against Team USA shows exactly what the Americans might be missing out on. Here's a player who knows the US system inside and out, using that knowledge to nearly pull off the upset of the century. It's not just about Williams either. Her situation has sparked a broader conversation. WNBA players and fans alike are calling for her return to the league. They see the impact she can have, the excitement she brings to the game, but as long as these prioritization rules exist, players like Williams are caught in the middle. So we have to ask ourselves, is the WNBA's rule costing Team USA potential star power? Are we seeing a brain drain of basketball talent because of these restrictions? The answer isn't simple, but Williams' performance certainly gives us something to think about. Team USA's been on top of the women's basketball world for so long, it almost feels like a given. 8 straight Olympic gold medals since 1996? That's not just dominance, that's a dynasty. But hold up, this nail biter against France might be telling us something we don't want to hear. Are we watching the beginning of the end for Team USA's reign? Let's break it down. First off, that game against France wasn't just close, it was a wake-up call, 1 point. That's all that stood between Team USA and a shock defeat. And it's not like this was a fluke. France came out swinging, leading by 10 early on. They weren't intimidated by the red, white, and blue. They came to win, and France isn't alone. The rest of the world's been catching up, and fast. We're not talking about teams happy to lose by 20 instead of 40 anymore. These international squads are gunning for the top spot, and they're getting closer every year. So what's changed? For starters, the talent pool's getting deeper worldwide. More countries are investing in women's basketball, and it's paying off. Players are getting better coaching, better facilities, and more competitive experiences. The gap's closing, and Team USA's feeling the heat. But here's where it gets really interesting. While the world's catching up, Team USA's not standing still. There's a new generation of stars coming up, and they're ready to shake things up. Let's talk Caitlin Clark. This girl's not just good, she's changing the game. Her range is ridiculous, her court vision is next level, and she's got that killer instinct you can't teach. Now imagine her suiting up for Team USA in the 2028 Olympics. Scary, right? But Clark's not alone. Angel Reese is another name you need to know. She's a double-double machine with a motor that never quits. Put her on the Olympic stage and watch her dominate. These young guns aren't just talented, they're bringing a whole new energy to the game. They've grown up in the social media age, they're not afraid of the spotlight, and they play with a swagger that's going to light up international competition. Now, you might be thinking, okay, new talent is great, but what about the team's struggles right now? That's where Rebecca Lobo's critique comes in. Remember how she called out Team USA for those turnovers and missed layups? That wasn't just complaining, that was a challenge. Lobo's words might be exactly what Team USA needs to hear. Sometimes, when you're on top for so long, you start to lose that hunger. You get comfortable, but comfort is the enemy of greatness. Lobo's critique is like a splash of cold water to the face. It's saying, wake up, the world's coming for you. And here's the thing, this could be the best thing to happen to Team USA in years. Why? Because now they've got something to prove. They're not just defending a legacy anymore. They're fighting to show they're still the best. Think about it. You've got the old guard feeling the pressure from Lobo's words and that close call against France. Then you've got the young stars like Clark and Reese, hungry to make their mark on the international stage. Mix those together, and what do you get? A team with the experience to know what it takes to win, and the fire to prove they're still top dog. The 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles aren't just another tournament. They're a chance for Team USA to make a statement on home soil. With a mix of veteran leadership and young star power, they could redefine what dominance looks like in women's basketball. Team USA's close call against France isn't just a blip, it's a wake-up call. Rebecca Lobo's harsh words, Gabby Williams' stellar performance for France, and the narrowing skill gap in international women's basketball all point to one thing: the game is changing. But here's the real question: is this the push Team USA needs to evolve? This nail-biter might be the shock that forces them to adapt and stay on top. The world's catching up, and Team USA can't afford to rest on their laurels. As the competition heats up, women's basketball is reaching new heights. You don't want to miss what's coming next. The game's getting faster, more intense, and more exciting than ever. If you thought this was thrilling, just wait. The best is yet to come.